Well, hello and welcome to the Super Connector show, where I'm delighted to be joined by Michael Grahamslaw, who is the founder and managing director of Northern Insight magazine. How are you doing, Michael?
I'm good, Paul, and many thanks for the invitation to join your show. I'm very flattered to be asked, so it's great to be
Ah,
here.
well, you deserve to be here because of all the things that you've done over the years. So I'll just
Thank
I'll
you.
just quickly rattle through some of it. So you founded Northern Insight magazine in 2015, so
Yeah,
coming up 11 years ago,
yeah,
and it's one of the northeast of England's leading publications where you
yeah,
cover business, property, media, technology, education, motors, arts and leisure, among other things.
yeah.
Um, it is a very popular and it's an important publication, I think, for the region.
Yeah.
But
Thank you.
before, but in as well as that, you've spent about 30 years working in some of the region's leading magazine and newspaper titles as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 36 years now in the wonderful world of media, which I can't quite believe. I can't quite believe.
You don't look old enough,
Um,
Michael.
I,
You
I was
don't.
going to say I've long since lost my dark hair, but no, I was very fortunate. I started, I did A levels. I had a place to go to Birmingham University to study English and drama, and I decided to take a year out. Saw a job advertised in the job centre. That's how long ago it was. What was Newcastle Chronicle and Journal, and I more or less started there about 2 or 3 weeks after I left school, and I found that newspapers and magazines were just something that I just loved from day one, really.
Mhm.
And a few ups and downs along the way, but here I am in my 36th year out, and it's fair to say I've never went back to university.
Amazing. You were the University of Life, School of Life.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
So take us back to the beginning then. So when would that have been roughly? What year would that have been?
It was. Let me think about this. So I finished my
The-
A levels in July, late June 1990.
Right. Okay.
Um, and what happened was, as I say, I saw a job. I saw a job basically advertised for in the telephone sales department. It's, as I say, the Chronicle and Journal. Now, at the time, they had a motors magazine called Auto Weekly, which
Hmm.
was very much the direct competitor at the time to Auto Trader. So the initial job that I got was basically selling, asking people um, to advertise their own private cars for sale within the magazine, and it was a very low, like basic hourly rate, and you made most of your money on commission. Um, so what happened was that the initial office that I was based in was in Shieldfield, where the biscuit factory is now. The Chronicle had a sales office over there,
Hmm.
and every night you used to have to log in and put your name on a board, and you log all your sales, and that was really the start of it. And what happened was, there was one evening. My first boss was a guy called David Rees Jones. It was a fantastic man. So David basically ran the whole magazine, but obviously through the day you had the trade staff, the people who would sell at the garages. They were all full time employed, and I worked in the evenings. Anyway, there was one night. David was a real character. He'd come back into the office. He was always the type to go for a beer or two after work. And this particular evening, he says, "Who's Mike? And can Mike stand up?" And that was me. And in about 2.5 hours, I'd registered some like 38 sales, which at the time was like a bit of a record. I don't know where it came from really, but so what happened was, David, he said, "I think you should come and have a chat with us." And then so I went to see him a couple of days after, and he offered me a job with the trade team. Then obviously then working with the garages and again on I couldn't drive then, on a telephone sales basis, and I found that I took to that as well, and that was really the start of the journey.
Hmm.
Um, and I was there for only about just under 3 years, but there was three of the most enjoyable. I know it was right at the start of my career, but there were three of the most enjoyable years of me working life,
Yeah.
because I worked with a great a great array of characters when I was there, and obviously I was only young. I was 18, and I met some great people there. So a couple of whom I still, one in particular I still see the odd time to this day. And that was the start of the journey. It's
Amazing.
and it's I'm not kidding you. It seems like yesterday.
Yeah. That's good because a lot of people, their first job's not necessarily a great experience, but like to find somewhere where it sounds like you hit the ground running and you thrived in that environment, but have someone that maybe took you under their wing as well and saw the potential in you and encouraged you, but also it's a nice feeling, isn't it? If you're successful and you're making money as well from it.
Well, David was an amazing guy. I mean, he was a maverick, David. He loved to drink. He loved to gamble a bit. But he was a great guy. He always had a lot of time for you. And I remember, obviously, as I say, we were directly opposite the Auto Trader. It was a huge magazine in its day. And the holy grail was to get. I remember at the time was getting Benfield Motors to advertise in Auto Weekly, and they wouldn't touch with because they were all steeped, as I said, in the Auto Trader. Anyway, somehow I managed to get a meeting with the guy at the time who was the marketing director there. And I'll always remember David, my boss, said, Mike, don't do this the wrong way. You come to the meeting, but I'll front it. And that was the first time in my life I really felt I was in the presence of it. Like, obviously I'm from the world of sales. David was a wonderful salesman, and he made that. We ended up getting Benfield into the magazine. They became long-term advertisers with us at the time I was there. Wow. And but David influenced me a lot, when I look back, because as I say, when he was just brilliant with people, brilliant. So yes, I learned a lot when I was there, and some good stories along the way, So.
Yeah. So you've had a few different commercial roles, and then the magazine that you've got now, you're the managing director, but a lot of what you're doing is not only sourcing the stories and doing the interviews and meeting the clients or the people who've got the stories to tell, but you're also on the commercial side as well. So you're selling advertising as well. So it's a lot. You're spinning a lot of plates and you're doing a lot of things. But it sounds like you love it all. But like, what do you enjoy the most out of what you do?
I still enjoy more than ever going out to see people. I like nothing more than a face-to-face meeting. As you know, Paul, I really like events as well. Been to your recent platform conference, which was absolutely superb. I like nothing better than that. I mean, I did find, as all of us did, COVID was a very difficult period, and then I think the aftermath of COVID for probably 18 months to 2 years with remote working, I think people lost some people lost their mojo, and then some got into a bit of a rut, a bit of a comfort zone, and people were less likely to want to see you. There was a lot of Teams meetings, Zoom meetings, and they're just not the same. And I actually I don't mind sharing this, I went through a period probably last year where without it just crept up on me really, where I started to just feel a little bit stale. And it was still a reasonable year with the magazine, but I got to Christmas and I said to my wife, right, I had a long break over Christmas because I don't do a January issue. It's the one decent break I get over the year. And I said, right, in the new year, I'm going to get myself back out there and do as many meetings as I can. And nothing's changed really. We've got all the technology in the world, but ultimately, in my opinion, nothing has changed in the respect of, there's nothing beats going to see somebody, because if you don't do that, you have no chance of engendering any goodwill in long-term relationships, which you need to keep any business going,
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree. Obviously I've run a lot of events, and I go to other people's events and I enjoy doing that and have lots of face-to-face meetings. I use a lot of technology as well, but nothing beats like meeting someone in person and
definitely not
the energy that you can get from other people and you can give to other people. And when you build some rapport with them and you hit it off, and then you might not see them again for months, but like, that you've got that connection, like me and you, right? Like we don't see each other a lot, but like
Yeah,
the
always got
first
on
time I
well.
met
Yeah,
you, I
yeah,
really liked you, and we built a bit of a rapport. I think, and then whenever we see each other, I always feel good when I talk to you.
yeah. Well, it was funny because obviously this is a plug for yourself, but I mean it sincerely. When last month when you had your recent platform conference,
Hmm.
that particular day was, I think from memory, about 2 days before the deadline for my, I think was either the May issue, I think, probably
All
the May
right.
edition,
Uh-huh.
possibly the June edition, and on the day itself, I really didn't feel I could spare the time to obviously I'd
Mm,
committed to it, and I thought,
mm,
but I never like to let people down, and the minute I got to the event and saw some people that I knew, and then listening to the various speakers' stories. And I came away re-energized, and ultimately all I had to do was just work a little bit later that evening to get caught
yeah.
up, and I'd had to be able to share that experience with lots of really good, like-minded people, which I really enjoyed,
Yeah,
So
no, I appreciate that. I'm glad. Well, I'm glad you were there but I know how it is. Like, especially if you've got loads on. Like
yeah,
there's a there was an event yesterday, which was great, but I could only be there in the morning. But
yeah,
I had other things I really could have
yeah,
done. Uh,
yeah,
but I'm glad I went,
yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, I'm the same. I always feel, I always, I never regret going to an event. I
Oh
always come
yeah,
away with
yeah,
something, whether it is just a new idea, a
yeah.
great conversation,
It's
reconnected with
a bit like exercise, really, isn't it? You think
people.
we never regret. It's something hard to do it, but then when you've done your
Yeah,
exercise, I try to do something most days if I can. You never
exactly.
regret it afterwards. Never regret it.
No,
So
no, no, and you're right. Definitely, because of COVID and coming out of COVID, I think people forgot the value of
yeah,
face-to-face meetings or going to events, and
yeah,
maybe some people have still forgotten it or they've never experienced it. But there's
yeah,
definitely took a couple of years to get back
yeah,
into there being a demand for it, which is why I didn't do any in-person events for 2 years.
yeah,
I actually went back into employment for
yeah,
2 years working in tech recruitment
yeah,
until I
yeah,
felt like the time was right to do events again,
yeah,
and also I got my mojo back as well. I wanted to do them.
yeah. Well, I think what I probably underestimated in the early stages of Northern Insight, prior to COVID, I was obviously I was establishing the brand, establishing the magazine. But then as time goes on, you've still got to keep challenging yourself all of the time, and you've got to get out there and get new business and new
Mhm,
accounts, and you can also, you don't do it deliberately, but the job can get quite isolating sometimes.
mhm,
And it's
mhm.
only but and if, particularly let's say you have a tough period, which happens with everybody, um, that you then think that you're the only person in the world that's having those sort of challenges. And
Yeah,
it's only by going to events and also meetings face to face that you learn that everybody else has experienced on the same journey.
yeah,
So
yeah,
uh,
definitely. I know
yeah,
that just personally, I've learned over the years that like if I'm feeling really stressed or like I've got a lot on, I tend to go inward and I tend to like stop
hmm,
talking to people.
yeah,
But
yeah,
actually, the best thing for me to do in that situation is to actually get out and talk to
yeah,
people. And
yeah, yeah,
but it's because I'm like I've just got so much going on, and I'm like, oh, I've got to focus on this, and I
yeah,
can't spare the
yeah,
time to get away from my desk.
yeah,
But the best thing is to get out of the
yeah,
house and meet people, and then I'm back to and I'm like, right, I'm ready to go again.
yeah, yeah.
Right. We've
Uh,
just had the king of event hosts, Alfie Joy's just commented there, he's saying always good to see you both at any event. So
oh yeah, yeah,
he's
fantastic.
someone who you always feel good when you see him in an event or
It's
on
no
stage.
question, and Alfie makes things look, because we all know these things aren't easy, but he makes it look easy. When
Yeah.
I've seen him presenting at different things, he's a super guy, super
Mhm.
ambassador for the region. So
Yeah, no, he's amazing.
yeah.
So tell us a bit more about the magazine and why you started it. Like what was the run up to that?
Well, I mean, I'd had a lot of time at I started my career, as I say, the Chronicle and Journal, and then I had best part of 20, 23 years. I mean, I worked for I worked for it's well known. I worked for North East Times magazine through the 90s. With that was an interesting, because when I went from the Chronicle, obviously I ended up being a motors rep, but when I went to North East Times, I was then dealing with so many more different types of businesses. And at the time I would only been 21, 22 when I started there, and I'd went from quite a big team at the Chronicle to North East Times was family owned. So I was really all of a sudden like quite a big fish, in a little pond, as it were. And the boss I had at the time, he suffered with bipolar disorder, bless him. So I hadn't been there very long, and he took ill, and he was off for like quite a long period. And whilst that was very difficult, when I look back, that in some degrees that was the making of us, because I was then dealing with all of the big accounts that the magazine had, as well as establishing new accounts myself. So that would be being classed at the time as like what was known as like a county magazine. So I kind of cut my teeth. That was when I went into monthly publication. That's when I like cut my teeth. And then from there, I had a 14-year period with what was Accent magazines, where I had some good times, some great good memories along the way. But I had always harbored ambitions to work for myself. So I got to the age of I lost both my parents in 2014, which I think that was quite a big moment in my life. And the following year, I thought, well, if I don't go it alone now, I'm never going to do it. I was turning 43, I think, then, and I had always felt that there was a gap. Obviously, there's other good magazines, other great magazines out there, but I had genuinely thought there was a gap for like a really good quality business and leisure magazine for the Northeast region. So it's funny because when I look back, I didn't have any grand business plan, I'm afraid to say. I wish I could tell you that I had. I had the working title of Northern Insights, which and what I did was I literally approached all of the many contacts that I'd made over the years and said, look, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it a really high quality magazine for the Northeast region. I'm going to try and get it in the best places. Would you be interested in like coming on board? Because obviously I had to get the commercial side up and running first and foremost. Otherwise, and I thought to myself, I remember saying right at the time, I'll know very early on whether this will work. And from my first meeting to getting the first magazine published was a period of about, including weekends, about 48 days. And I did something like 100 face-to-face meetings in that period, and converted most of them in some shape or form.
Wow.
And that was it. I was off and running. So the first issue was July 2015, and now we're coming up to our 125th edition.
Oh, well done. Well done.
It was funny though, because when I look back, out of all of those issues, probably the hardest one we ever did was issue 2, because you're
difficult second album.
You're building. That's exactly what it was like. It was building up to get this thing out, and then obviously I got it launched. What a great, I remember, launch party in town, and got wonderful feedback. And then of course, once me hangover had cleared, I thought, well, I better get back on my bike, because I've got to shoot 2 in the corner. But it's that's where it started. That's where it started. So,
no, well done. Well done for getting started, because like lots of people think about doing things and they never get around to doing it. That's like people maybe underestimate how difficult that is, but then to keep going for that long and that many issues, it's not easy, because you are spinning a lot of plates. It's it's people. If you've not worked in any sort of publication, whether it's print or online, people have got no idea what goes
Yeah,
into it,
yeah,
and all the different people that you're dealing with, and
yeah.
I don't know what sort of spreadsheet you have, or what sort of systems you have, or if it's all in your head or it's all in your inbox, but
Well,
it
probably a bit
must.
of everything, really. But I mean, the best. If people ask me if there was one way I could describe what putting a monthly magazine together is like, it's akin to doing like a 10,000 piece jigsaw puzzle. That's how it feels, because you've got to try
Every
to make
month,
it.
every
Yeah,
month.
that's how it feels. But I mean, and of course, there's times where you're tearing your hair out doing it, and but then things start to click, and it's
Mhm.
to this day, I still got a huge buzz. I think I've done 124 and counting Northern Insights. All of the other magazines in the 25 years before then, and I still get a huge buzz when the product comes out. But it's
Yeah.
an interesting one, because once I'm finished the magazine and it's at the printers, and then when the new issue comes out, obviously you hope, you often will get some nice positive feedback, or my current mag looks great, and sometimes I have to stop, because in my own head that's in the rear view mirror, because I'm on to the
Mhm,
next
mhm,
one.
mhm, mhm.
So it is important to stop and reflect and improve, and
Yeah. Mhm.
but that's the best way to describe putting it together, Paul.
Yeah.
But I still get a huge buzz from it, and despite its frustrations, and don't get me wrong, there are a lot of them sometimes. Um, I feel very blessed that I'm able to say that, because a lot of people that wake up in the morning, that they know what the next 8 hours of the day is going to bring. My
Mhm.
day is never like that,
No. No,
good or
no.
bad, and
Yeah.
you've just got to err on the side of good as much as you can.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So
So so do you, when it goes to print, do you take a bit of time out? Do you take like a day or two off, or are you straight back onto the next one?
no, I try to take what I didn't used to do this, but we always try and work our print slot now, so it goes to press on a Friday,
Mhm.
and ordinarily by that last day, really my work is done. I've normally signed the job off with Lou, my designer, the day before.
Mhm.
So that last day, I quite often now I'll try and take a bit of holiday, have a round of golf, or go out with
Yeah,
my wife, or
that's good. That's important to do that, I think. Yeah.
yeah. And I've learned as I've went along, you have to take your breaks. It's
Mhm.
futile just to just keep working and work. You do need to try and switch off. But again, that's when it's your own. You'll know this, Paul. It's not always
Mhm.
easy.
Mhm. Mhm. No, yeah, I've definitely, that's one bit of advice I would give anyone starting their own business or running their own business, is take your holidays, and
Yeah,
don't feel bad about or guilty
yeah,
about taking time off, even if it's like midweek, or even
yeah,
just in the middle of the day or whatever. If you need that time to a bit of
yeah,
a break, it's important to do it, because there's definitely there's some days where I wake up and I'm not really in the mood for doing any work, but
mhm.
like, but I'm always I am always on the go. I'm always doing stuff. But like, there's some days where I'm like, I'm not really feeling like this, so I'll maybe walk the dog, or I'll do something different, or but then I'm in the mood for it, and then once I get going, I find it hard to stop sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
So like, I might
No,
not
I
I
get like
might
that.
not be in
You
the
get in
mood
the
to
zone,
start
don't
it.
you? Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
might not be in the mood to start at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or maybe 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. But
yeah,
then,
yeah,
as long as it doesn't interfere too much with the family, I'm like, sometimes I am working till 7 or 8 o'clock at night, but the
yeah,
next day I might not.
yeah. I
And
mean, I get things, and I've often wondered if everybody gets like this, and I'm sure they do. I get at times where um you perhaps don't want to pick let's say you're looking for new business, and the way I was trained obviously was you've got to pick the telephone up and speak to people,
mhm, mhm.
and I get days where that's the last thing I want to do.
Yeah.
And then you make 2 or 3 calls, you make a good call, and then
Mhm.
you're back in the mix, and then but people that would surprise people after all 36 years but I still get those fears
Yeah.
regularly. Think,
Uh-huh.
God, don't feel up to talking to people today, and I just want to work on email, and I hate working like that. That's really,
Uh-huh.
it's
Uh-huh.
so it's bizarre, really, when you
Yeah.
think, why do I go through these emotions? But But you do, and I think probably it's quite a good thing because it keeps you grounded and it keeps you on your toes, you know. So,
Have you got any advice for people on that then? Because there's a lot of people who hate sales or say they hate sales or they're uncomfortable doing it or they don't like picking up the phone, but then you have to make, every business has to make sales. Like you got to sell, and it's the lifeblood of any business. And yes, you can use technology and you can try and automate, but at some point you're gonna have to talk to someone. But so have you got any tips or things that get you, like, keep you motivated or get you going to pick up the phone?
Well, there was something quite recently that I was at an event and somebody said, I think it was possibly a North Tyneside Business Forum event, saying if have a folder on your computer, and if somebody could, like, say, you know, you do something good, save your email in that folder. So you're like, it's like a folder of positivity, if you like. So if you're feeling a bit flat and you think, I can't do this, in my case, I can't do this job anymore, just try and look back at it. Sometimes we think, well, you've been given a bit of praise somewhere. When it was our 100th edition, I got some wonderful testimonials about the magazine, and so I actually have that 100th issue next to my desk, and it's not for vanity purposes. It's just sometimes picking it up and think, well, somewhere along the line I must have got something right. So I find that puts me then normally into more of a positive frame of mind. So really, you've just got to just try and get stuck in, you know. And but I love, you know, I love podcasts. I love I listen. I love reading. I love listening. You know, anything that can just give you that push. I find this helps for me. You know, so it'd be difficult to pick out one particular thing or a bit of advice, but you know, try and remember when you've done things right. You know, in what the process has been. And try and also think of when you've been at your best. You know, it's I tend to find with things with the magazine and this has never changed in 30 plus years. When I finish an edition, obviously you've worked at that, like a big deadline. You get it to the printers, and you just breathe an enormous sigh of relief. And then you get like a feeling of anticlimax almost for a couple of days, and you think, I've got to do this again. That feeling has never left me in 30 years. But what I tend to find is as the month goes on, it's almost like I get into my stride. It's quite difficult to explain, really. You know, it's definitely like a process. You know, and you can't be. And I've also learned, as much as there's to my frustration, you can't be at that maximum all of the time. You know, so.
No, there is a process. You got to trust the process, and you got to.
Yeah.
Comes with experience. You like you know you've been there through that before, and you can't force it to be different. You got to go through it. So I always remember the very first big event I did, the Newcastle Startup Week Festival. The first time I did that 5-day multi-venue citywide event, right? So over 600 people.
It was amazing.
It was amazing. In 2017. And do you know? I'm sure you do. Jim Maudsley.
Yes. Yeah.
Famous event organizer and promoter. Used to be involved in Shindig and did the Evolution Festival. And he's now head of big events at Newcastle City Council or the North of Tyne, and he's doing like Mobos and Mercury Awards and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But he said to us after the first event, "Have you had event crash yet?" And I was like, I have, because he's like, yeah, every time you do a big event, you get going and you're building up momentum.
It's amazing. That's the word, momentum. Definitely, that's the word.
It's momentum, isn't it? You're winding it up, and then it's exciting. Things are clicking into gear, and then you put on this amazing thing, and then the first event, I remember, brilliant. 5 days, such a buzz. Everything's great. People packing down the back. That's not why I did it, but like, you know. It was just great. Everyone was happy. And then the next morning I woke up and it was just like, there's nothing to do. It's just silent. It's quiet. It's like. Yeah.
Well, I remember when I was at school, I probably first experienced it then because I did a lot of, I loved drama when I was at school, and that probably helped us in the job I ended up going into. But I remember doing like a big school show, and I had the lead in the show, and we prepared for it for about 6 months, and 6 months for what was, I think, like 3 nights worth of performances. And I remember after the third night, I was obviously still on a real high. And the next morning, I woke up and I remember it like it was yesterday. I felt absolutely bereft, and that was the first time I experienced it. And I've experienced similar with the magazine. It's but I've tried to think, try and think, well, this is what's coming, but I just can't help it. It's just something that's there,
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, because I think, well, again, you've just when you said trust the process, like, well, this is what happens. Start again, and but it's just interesting, really, Going back to what you said earlier about the world of sales. I'd always be at pains to say it's a very underestimated career, sales, because there's so much that goes into it.
Yeah.
So I reckon if anybody wanted to work in sales, just get some great sales training from it. Some good, some wonderful, like, books to start you on your way. The How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie, a very famous book about dealing with people, which is, a probably million seller. People still use to this day, refer to, because it's such a nuanced profession, because you have to deal with so many different people and different characters, and you've almost got to be, I feel at times, like a bit of an amateur psychologist, because everybody's different.
Oh, well, yeah.
We're all human beings at the end of the day, So.
Yeah, there's so much psychology involved in sales and selling.
Yeah.
And it's definitely something I've tried. Well, I'm still trying to get better at sales, because like my inclination is to be more marketing, like communication, messaging, community engagement, building awareness, sort of thing. But I've been in teams in the past where someone else, it's been their job to do the sales. Like, my job has been to do the marketing and get people interested in what we're doing, but then someone else has been, it's their job to do the conversion and get the sale over the line.
Yeah.
But then when you've got your own business, you have to do that. And and I'm much more, I'm like soft sell.
Oh yeah.
And I can sell, and I clearly can sell, but my inclination is to not sell. It's to be more marketing, and I've got to remind myself regularly to actually ask for the sale and do the conversion.
Well, I would prefer to think of myself. Some others might see it different, but I prefer to think of myself like that. It's conversation, it's a conversational style of selling and getting to know people. That's what I enjoy,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. As what was I going to say? There's a good book called The Jolt Effect.
Ah, right. I'll have to look at that one.
I read that about a year ago. And basically they've analyzed like millions of sales calls to work out what success looks like, and what they're saying now in the modern day, like, I'm teaching your granny how to suck eggs here. Like, I'm not calling you a granny. Like, the old classic, old style of sales is like painting this future vision, this utopia. Come with us, and everything's gonna be great. We're gonna solve all your problems, right? And that might be true, but now people are, even if they know that they want this thing, people are so scared of messing up and making the wrong decision that they just don't make any decision.
Right. Yeah.
And they say now it's not the fear of missing out, it's the fear of messing up.
Yeah.
So so they're saying this jolt effect is like, it's really, really important now that not only to do the sales, the selling, but you have to spend a lot of time reassuring people that everything's going to be all right once they've made that decision, and what's going to happen after they've bought something, and what's the aftercare going to be like, and and that's what a lot of people don't know, that, or they don't realize that that's what people are worried about. And sometimes people are like, I know this is the right thing, but I'm not confident my colleagues are going to do a good job of this. So it's really, really interesting.
When I worked at the Evening Chronicle, people can't believe it when I tell them this, but when I worked on the telephones, even this was the same when I moved to the trade team, I had to make 35 calls of authority a day. So that was to 35.
Wow.
Well, I worked with the motor side, obviously, initially. 35 garage owners or motor franchises or ad agencies. And obviously, this was long before technology, so it was all manual. And your calls used to get back checked, so because people used to make them up sometimes. And but that discipline of picking up the phone, sometimes even now, I don't sit down like I'm going to make 35 calls of authority today. But I do at times say, right, I'm going to have a morning of like I'm on the phone this morning, and it's and if you're in the right zone, as it were, it's really stimulating. Really stimulating.
Yeah. Once you get going, but often it's the hardest bit is just the
definitely
first call, isn't it?
Yeah, no question. Yeah.
So is there certain days or certain times of the week that you do that, or is it just whenever, like throughout the week?
Well, it's funny because this hasn't been deliberate on my part, but I think what I've realised is I've went along through the journey is I'm definitely, I'd love to do some kind of study on this. I'm definitely better in the first half of the week.
Yeah.
I always try to do my key work Monday to Thursday lunchtime, shall we say. I find on a Friday, I don't know whether it's just a mental thing as much as anything else. By a Friday, so I've always done this. Like I've always, a lot of my administrative stuff I try to do on a Friday. If I've got to like write any articles or do a lot of me planning on a Friday afternoon, because so yeah, I find like so to answer your question, if I'm going to do like let's say a lot of canvassing, I'll do like on a Monday or a Tuesday.
Yeah.
So and I tend, just the way time's gone on, I tend to work long days on a Monday and a Tuesday to really try and break the back of the week.
Yeah, when you've got a bit more energy and you've a bit more. Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? If you've had the weekend of not working, and then you've got more energy and you're a bit more fired up and willing to put a bit of time in, and then as the week goes on, you're giving a lot, aren't you? So you're not going to have as much fuel in the tank.
I've definitely found that. I remember a client of mine, I'll not name him, he's long since retired, was a big client of mine for many, many years. And he being, he's probably, could be in his 70s now, I still see him sporadically. And he once said to me, he just says, I remember him once saying, just as he was approaching retirement, he says, Mike, I get tired now, and I think I have to try, and I don't know, by the way, I don't always manage it, but I think I have to manage my own energy better now, if that makes sense, because we've only got a finite amount of it, and we can all spread without realizing it. We can all spread ourselves too thinly, So that's something I have to be aware of,
Yeah,
because I mean, burnout is everywhere. We see it all of the time. There's articles in the magazine every single month from some of the coaches about combating burnout and recognizing the signs. I went to a great seminar in relation at the turn of the year that the Entrepreneurs Forum ran, and it was a really fascinating round table discussion. And I think as business owners, that it's something that we have to be extremely mindful of. There's so many pulls on my time now with technology. So.
Well, because you can, especially if it's something that you like doing. But if it is hard to switch off. You can just. There's always more that you can do. There's definitely some nights where I'm like, or even on a Friday, sometimes I'm like, I don't want to stop. I want to keep going because there's more that I want to do, but I don't. I usually don't do any work on a weekend. Or even if I do, if there's a really pressing deadline, I'll do a little bit, and I'll do it when people are still in bed, when the family's still in bed, and because I like getting up early. But so just Northern Insight, right? You've been in this quite privileged position, I suppose, and you get to meet so many amazing things and hear so many great stories and stuff. Just what's your take on? I know you're going to say it's amazing, but what's your take on the Northeast region? What's its strengths and what's its weaknesses? I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Well, I mean, that's a great question, Paul. Obviously, I'm born and bred in the region. I think the strength. Oh, it's. I think a lot of people would say to me the strength of the Northeast is its people. You know, I think we have a we're tremendously by and large positive. I think we're very resilient. When I set Northern Insight up, as I said earlier, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure how it would go, whether I'd get it off the ground, and the support that I had from many people was unbelievable, and something that I'll never forget. And I think we've got some really smart, intelligent people in the region running got some fantastic businesses, and it is a privilege as a magazine owner. And I remember alluding to this when we did our 100th edition, saying because there's always something new happening in the region. There's always something new to report on. I went to the opening of the new Freight Island bar at Eldon Square last Wednesday.
I think I'm due to go there next week. Yeah,
absolutely stunning addition to the leisure scene in Newcastle. So the strength would be the people here, and then the resilience, and I think we're tremendously hardworking. I think one of the probably the only weakness is that I think there's people, talented people up here you could put up against anybody in the country, and I don't think we're always. I think we can sometimes be guilty of not talking ourselves up enough. I don't know whether that's just something that's in our regional DNA. I think we're sometimes a little bit shy to shout from the rooftops what successes. Although I do think we're getting better. It's funny because, like, in terms of running the magazine, obviously I spend my life promoting everybody else's businesses, and when it came to landmarks that we've had, like my 100th issue, I had to be coaxed to go on the cover of that one, and it was because I didn't want to shout about what we'd done, so because I thought, well, we're a platform for other people to promote themselves. That's how I look at it first and foremost. I thought, well, so I think as a region we can be guilty of that sometimes.
No, I agree. Well, you are that you deserve that platform yourself. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this with you today, because I think I really appreciate like what you do and what other media titles do. So I think it's really important for people to see and hear about all the great things going on in the region. And sometimes it's hard to coax that information out of businesses and organizations, like you say, where they don't want to put themselves forward, or they don't necessarily see the value or the importance of getting information out about them, not only to the wider world, but for their own colleagues as well. It's they like seeing and reading about them in print, and there's in this increasingly digital world, I think there's nothing like being in print. I love it if we get a piece of positive media coverage in a magazine or newspaper. It's I've got all the press cuttings that we've ever had. I'm really proud when I see it.
Well, obviously, it's an obvious thing that I get asked all of the time as a magazine owner. What is the future of print and generally in magazines in particular? And you only have to look at the proliferation of magazine titles that are out there and are still opening and launching. I'm very confident that magazines will continue to evolve and prosper as we go forward. I mean, things like, in terms of my own magazine, when we cover like society events like charity balls and fundraisers and stuff like that, people to this day they still love to get that picture in. They do it. And they'll get extra copies for their family, and it's and obviously the digital world has its place, but I think that's a lot more like almost transactional. It's here today, gone tomorrow. Whereas a magazine is something you can hold on to and covet. And keep. So, I should know because I've got plenty lying around in the house.
But there's definitely times when, if I've gone to a meeting with a new client or maybe new sponsor or partner for our events, I've taken magazines with me to show them, and they're always impressed. They're more impressed by that, I think, than me showing a website or something online. So it is important. Here's a thought. This has just popped into my head, right? But I think regionally, maybe a bit shy, or like we could do a bit more about talking about our successes and celebrating like regionally. I'm wondering if you might already do this, but if I'm wondering if some of your magazines could be or should be shared with people outside of the region as well.
Well, no doubt, Paul. I mean, to be honest with you, that's something that we don't do enough of. But it's certainly something I would look at, definitely. You know, when I originally worked at North East Times in the 90s, my old boss, he used to always send a magazine a month to the Queen. You know,
right? Yeah, good.
and I think he sent one to Downing Street as well. It's not. I have to say, it's not something I've ever done, which is probably remiss of me. You know?
No, but it might be worth doing. I don't know, because in the past, right? So I think about this a lot, right? So like my business in particular, it's just like yours. It's about celebrating and promoting and shining light on great things going on in the Northeast, right? But I do share a lot online, and I have people follow me all over the UK and overseas. So I'm always like, people do pick up on it, right? But in the past, I used to do a job. There was an organisation called Tech North, which is a government organisation set up to promote the north of England as a great place to start and grow a tech business, right? So every week I was in Manchester, Liverpool, Leeds, Sheffield, Hull, Sunderland, Newcastle. That was my patch. Right, so I was always in Manchester every Monday, and then usually the other places, or at least I would be talking to people in those different locations, right?
Yeah.
And there is a difference. That there is something called like the Mancunian swagger, right? The Mancs are really confident and happy to talk about how great they are and sell themselves, and think about Oasis. You got Happy Mondays. You got like all these like big characters from the Northwest who are very Manchester United, Manchester City. That there's a confidence and a swagger about the Northwest that Northeast doesn't necessarily have, right?
Yeah.
But then even because I was in Manchester a lot, I would say to people, what's Manchester got that other reason I'm got? And they would say, particularly the political leadership, they would regularly en masse send people down to London.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Northeast has done that very well in the past.
It hasn't. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
We're maybe doing it a bit more now with like Kim McGuinness and people around. But I'm talking about not just Kim McGuinness and her team. I'm talking about business owners, business leaders, people who can go and represent the region positively on a regular basis. And maybe your magazines could just be part of that.
Well, we did run a story. There was you probably saw. I think a month or two ago. I think there was 50 female founders went with Kim down to Downing Street. Some of whom were clients, which I thought that was great. The more we can encourage and develop links like that, the better.
Yeah, definitely. But I think I'm going to make a note to do this a bit more, like take copies of your magazine if I go to London or if I go outside the region and give them to people, because there's people do want to know what's going on and they've got no idea. And I often get people saying to me, oh, we want to do something in the Northeast, but we don't know where to start, or like we've heard that you're connected or you know what's going on, and I'll give them advice or whatever. But people aren't just going to, on a whim, get on the train or get on a plane to Newcastle or Sunderland or wherever in the northeast. But if they're regularly seeing news and positive stories about the region, then
it's going to encourage them.
I think Kim McGuinness and her team should have copies of yours everywhere they go.
Well, we can easily organise that. So.
Kim, if you're watching this, get one you haven't presenting Keir Starmer or Andy Burnham or whoever's going to be the Prime Minister, handing him a copy of Northern Insight next time you see them.
I'll sign it if they want me to,
Yeah, aye. What's Is there anything in particular? Well, you said Freight Island. Is there anything else coming up that you're excited about in the region?
Well, there's obviously the Lockheed Martin involvement with the space site. I think it is it Akeley Heads. I went to a conference they did recently down at Jesmond. Oh, you've put us on the spot there, Paul. I'm sure if I go, you know, as soon as we finish this call, I think of loads that I could have said in relation to that.
I mean, I tell you, well, I have put you on the spot a couple of times here, but I tell you, well, I'm sat in Sunderland, right? I'm originally from Gateshead, and I've always done stuff across the whole of the northeast, but I've mostly worked in Newcastle and Gateshead. But I've visited Sunderland a lot over the years, gone to meetings or events, but I've been living in Sunderland for the last 2.5 years, right? And there is so much going on in the city. Yeah. It's really genuinely exciting place to be. And I think there's still a lot of people who aren't from Sunderland who don't believe it, or like they're not paying enough attention, or football rivalry is still a big thing. You know, they don't want to accept that Sunderland's got so much going on. But and even people from Sunderland, a lot of people live on the edges, the outskirts of Sunderland, and they don't go into the city centre where a lot of the developments are happening. But I'm seeing it firsthand. And there's like today, I was at the Just Eat office in the city centre, which is amazing. Yeah. And they're doing like world-class innovation. It's a global business, but the like innovations happening right here in Sunderland. You've got the new Culture House opening in Sunderland, which is going to be amazing.
Well, I went recently. The Sunderland Bid had a big lunch at Sunderland Bid, or a client of the magazine, and I went as their guest to a lunch they had at Sunderland College. And the one of the main speakers was the lady behind Culture House.
I was there. Kirsty.
And it was fantastic. And I've probably spent this year, I've got loads of clients in the. You're right. There's lots going on down there, and I've probably spent more time in the last 6 months down there than I probably did the whole of last year. There's an amount going on. It's fantastic. You know, obviously it's been open a while now. Sheepfolds. I mean, that's been a great addition to the city. So
and I think it's the thing is it's all happening all at once. You know, it's like there's lots going on. Like even just one of these new developments would be exciting, but there's like about 20 of them all happening all at once, you know. And it's all part of a big master plan for the Riverside development. And when you see it all coming together, it's phenomenal, really. The council deserves a lot of credit for.
Yeah, they do. I got a lot of positive news stories like sent to me all the time, you know. And as I said, I've got a lot of clients down there. And it's great. You know, it's what we want for the whole of the region. We want positivity everywhere. You know, it's the more of it, the better.
Yeah. I tell you where else I was at last week. I was up in Alnwick because we're looking at doing some platform events up there. And I was at the Alnwick Playhouse, and I'm embarrassed to say I've never been to the Alnwick Playhouse. Yeah, I've always been to Alnwick Gardens, Alnwick Castle, the Tree House, Lilladorey, Barter Books, but I've never. What an amazing venue that is, Alnwick Playhouse.
Yeah, who were you seeing up there?
It was one of the guys who's just
a meeting,
show me around. But we're going to do a platform event there. But then after that, I went to the Tempest. Have you heard of the Tempest Hotel?
Yeah. It's owned by the people who've got. Is it Charlton Farm? I think they've got. Is that one of their venues? I know that.
Charlton Hall and
Charlton Hall. That's it.
And Doxford Barnes, but
Doxford Barnes. Yeah.
What a beautiful hotel and places to stay up there. So
that was another. I mean, that's a part of the the leisure and hospitality sector is obviously been through a tough period, but there's still there's some fantastic venues like opening all the time. I mean, mentioning Alnwick, I did some work last year with the new Bailiff Gate Hotel, which is next to Alnwick Garden. It's actually run by an old pal of mine. It's what used to be the school. I think it was King Edward's School. I think it's unbelievable. So next thing we'll check that one out. You know.
Okay. Not been, but that's another strength, isn't it? The region of the the leisure and hospitality is
unbelievable. I mean,
fantastic.
this year I've been doing I did a piece for the magazine on the new Gotham Hotel in Newcastle. I've started using that if I'm in the city centre for meetings. It's obviously the old fire station, and they're now, I think the second half there that they're opening in what was the old police station. They're extending more bedrooms there. If you haven't been there, anybody listening, I'd highly recommend that. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I've not been yet, and that's the thing. I used to be in Newcastle every day, but because I'm living and working, I work from home a lot, but I'm out and about all over the region. But I haven't been to the Gotham Hotel yet. But,
I mean, what we need now, and I know it's in the pipeline, we need a world class concert and conferencing venue. You know, and that's obviously been taught about next to the Glass House, because that, as a music fan, I'm saddened sometimes now. I mean, the arena is still a very good arena, but we are getting bypassed sometimes for some of the, what people might think was some of the bigger acts that go to Leeds and then they go to Glasgow. I think that would be a huge addition to to Newcastle.
Oh, definitely. I know. I mean, I'm not just here to talk about Sunderland, but like Sunderland does get big acts playing at the Stadium of Light.
I mean, I saw Bruce Springsteen down there 2 years ago, and it was fantastic.
Mega. But definitely, it would be great, not just for music, but conferences. So that's a big thing, isn't it? Like political parties, conferences. They're usually in Brighton or Birmingham or whatever. And
definitely.
But have big conferences at the minute. They don't have the capacity in Newcastle.
That's what we need.
Gates. Yeah. You touched on music there. Go on, just quickly. What sort of music do you like?
And it's funny because if ever I need a pickup when I'm working,
Oh yeah, music's really powerful. It can totally change your mood and your emotional state.
Oh,
he's frozen a bit, but he's go on. You're back. Go on, tell us about your music.
You got us now. So nothing picks me up but better than music. So I'm obviously a huge Beatles fan first and foremost. My son went to
Liverpool.
Music lovers would be Queen, and I was very fortunate to meet their heroes of mine about 10-11 years ago when they were staying at the Hotel Louvain. I had an office next door, and there were two super guys. So aside, I peaked playing the triangle when I was at school. But my son's a very good guitar player. But I love music. I love the arts generally, So, and we've got some fantastic, music within the region. So,
my son's turned 17 this Friday, and but he's a Newcastle College, but his social life's just exploded, and he's going to loads of gigs, and I love it. Like him and my daughter, I've always like played lots, like very diverse types of music, and got them interested in.
I mean, when I was
into music as well.
I used to love the Mayfair in Newcastle. I used to regularly go there, go to gigs. I remember seeing Michael Hutchins was still alive, and 30 plus years ago. That was
that in excess? Did he go and see NXS?
In excess at the Mayfair.
Oh wow! Yeah, they were
unbelievable.
Yeah, mega.
Saw some great gigs there, and I stay the City Hall, brilliant. I mean, Sunderland's got they've got a great venue, the Fire Station, which is next to the Empire. Fabulous. They're getting some good acts there. So that's the media world.
Well, yeah, it's all connected. I think if you're into media and you're into art and culture, you're gonna like music and as well, and film as well. So
I wouldn't know without it. I really, and some of my heroes, many of them are musicians. When you see these guys, I mean, you know, McCartney just bringing out a #1 album at the age of 80, really, really good album. I've had it on more or less every day since it's been released. It's these guys is just like it's absolutely unbelievable, you know.
Yeah.
So
have you seen the documentary? I think it's on Amazon Prime about Paul McCartney after when he left the Beatles.
After what? Sorry.
When Paul McCartney left the Beatles, there's a documentary called. Have you seen it, Man on the Run?
I've seen it. Yeah, when it's
really good.
Wings, yeah.
Because he was like totally lost, like literally didn't know what to do, and he was getting panned for people saying, "Oh well, we know he wasn't the main talent because his first album wasn't considered very good." But then
it wasn't considered a big commercial, but it's now considered
a classic now, isn't it? Yeah, and Wings obviously, and he hit his stride with Wings, and but I love stuff like that. Love documentaries about musicians and artists.
Well, we saw McCartney live in Liverpool, and it was just before the Northern Insight. So back in 2015, I went with my wife and my son and daughter, and we were in the 8th row at Liverpool Arena.
Oh wow!
And he played for 3.25 hours. Never left the stage at any time. So so then he's 73, 74 then, and he's still going. You know,
amazing. Such a talent. Cool. Right. Well, Mike, if anyone wants to,
I thoroughly enjoyed that, Paul.
Yeah, I love talking to you. Always enjoyed talking to you. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put loads of links underneath here to people find out about your magazine. But your magazine's usually available all over the region, isn't it? Like people can pick it up.
You can pick it up in like key business, hotel, leisure outlets, all right through the region.
Yeah, hotels, cafes, restaurants, sometimes. Shops.
If anybody, if anybody wants to know any more about the mag, obviously they can northern-insight.co.uk. And I'll be sending a magazine now to Downing Street on your recommendation.
I think you should. Maybe hedge your bets, send one to Keir Starmer and Andy Burnham, I think.
Aye. But cool. Paul, can I just say, well done to you. I know you got your award the other week off at your platform conference for all your services to the region, and well deserved.
Oh, thank you.
Platforms like this where we're able to talk, absolutely brilliant. And I think your platform business that you have now, your events business, brilliant. And I'm sure you're going to go from strength to strength. So
thank you. No, I really appreciate it. All right, love that. Okay, cheers, Michael. Leave it there. See ya.
Great stuff. Okay, thanks, Paul. Cheers now. Thanks. Bye.